Om Ajnanatinandasya Jnananjana Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padgamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagara Gunatham Vikamtam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So last time we started a section on the Sthita Pragya. So we saw the verse number 54, where Arjuna asks a question to Krishna that who is the Sthita Pragya? What are his general symptoms? That is Kabhasa, Kim Prabhasita, that is how does he speak? Speak means not general speaking, but speaking when he receives praise or blame or affection or hate. How does he say internationally? And Kim Asita is how does he sit when there are senses around him? So how does he stand in senses when there are sense objects around him? And then Kim Vajita means how does he walk? Because even if the sense objects are not there, we generally contemplate on them after they are not there. So how does he sit, respond to sense objects in general? So these are four questions which was asked by Arjuna to Krishna. And we saw the symptoms of Chitta Pragya in the last time, the verse number 55. That, let's see the verse only. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prajati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmani Evatmana Tushta Sthita Pragyas Taduchyate. So, O Partha who gives a varieties of desires for sanctification and finds satisfaction in the self alone, he is in pure transcendental consciousness. So, one who can give up desire for sense gratification is the person who can be in pure transcendental consciousness. So this we saw that last time, and he's satisfied in self. So now today's verse is how do he responds to dualities. So dualities come in everyone's life. There is happiness, there is distress, and everything. So how does he respond to this? So this is our verse number 56 and 57, which you see the two verses. And then after we'll see how does he practice sense control in further verses from 58 to 63. So let's start with verse number 56. Dukeshu anudignamana sukeshu vigataspara vitaraga bhaya krodha sitadir munir uchyate. Dukeshu, in the threefold miseries, uh, anudvigna mana, without being agitated, in mind, Sukeshu in happiness, Vigata Spira without being interested, Vita free from Raga attachment, Bhaya fear, Krodha and anger, Sita the whose mind is steady, Muni a sage Uchate is called. So one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries are related when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind. So it is not just disturbance outwardly, it is disturbance in the mind. So one should not be even disturbed in the mind, because sometimes what happens is when there is some thing which we don't like, externally we will not speak, but in our mind we are very much disturbed. So here Krishna is saying that one who is not disturbed even in mind amidst the threefold miseries. So threefold miseries are Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Adhyatmik. So misery is caused by our body, like sometimes our teeth cut our own tongue. Sometimes we have fever. So our body causes problem for us. And sometimes the problems are caused by other living entities. And sometimes Adi Devik means the problem caused by the demigods. Like sometimes there's excessive rain, there's heat, sometimes cold. So these are the different miseries caused by different living entities and God and ourselves. So when one is not disturbed, even in three miseries, when there is so much cold, too much heat, one is not disturbed, or elated when there is happiness. So that doesn't mean that we should always be morose, but in general, uh, more often happiness, enthusiasm is not needed. We should be equipoised in both, and that is good for our spiritual progress. And who is free from attachment, fear, and anger. So one should not be too much attached to things, because in this world things come and they will come for some time and then again disappear. So we may own some car, house at this point of time, but after some time we may not own that because of various reasons. So if we are attached, then we will not be able to live in this world. And also we should not be fearful or angry. So fear comes when there is a uh, chance of losing something. So sometimes fear comes that I may not lose this. And after losing the thing, anger comes that why this thing has been taken away from me. So when the thing is there, we are always in constant fear that suppose I have some bank balance, or there not be digital arrest, or I may not be losing some money here and there. And if the money is lost, then we have anger, so much anger that, oh, why it is lost. And the whole sequence will also be explained again in verse number 62 and 63. So the stages of uncontrolled minds or hold on uncontrolled. So we'll see that also this stage in this chapter only. So we'll study there further. The word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. So it is said that every Muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a Muni differs from other Munis, he cannot be called a Muni in the strict sense of the term. So first of all, Muni means he will think in different ways, and he will think in so many different angles of vision that he will not come to a conclusion only. Oh, this may be like this, may be like this, may be like this. So mental so many separation will be going on. And second is, a Muni will be called a Muni only if he differs from others. If he has same conclusion from others, then he is not called a Muni. In the strict sense is the term, that the strict means is the meaning. So Naso Rishir Yasya Matim Na Bhinna, Mahabharata Vana Parva 313.117. So this is what the Muni means. But a Sthir Dhir Muni, as mentioned here, the one but who has been sthir is uh, herein by the Lord is different from ordinary Muni. The Sthira Dhira Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. So after so many speculations and doing like this and that, this may be the problem, or that may be the thing, or how many uh, types of speculation he may do, he may come to a conclusion. So this is called as Sthira Dhira Muni. So after so many things, he's come to a conclusion that he has exhausted his business of speculation, and now he is in Krishna consciousness. So Prashanta Nishesha Manorathena, he is called or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculation and come to the conclusion of that Lord Krishna or Vasudev is everything. Vasudev Sarvati Samahatma Sudurlabha. So these people are very rare actually. Samahatma is called a Mahatma, very good soul, and they are Sudurlabha. So Durlabha means rare, and Sudurlabha means very, very rare. So Vasudev is everything. Vasudev means Krishna. So Vasudev is Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, Devaki and Vasudeva, and Vasudev's son is Vasudeva. So Vasudeva Sarvam iti Samatma Sudulabha. So very rare. He's a Muni. He's called a Muni in fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaught of threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries of mercy of Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past miseries. And he sees that the miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. So first of all, such a person, he will accept all the miseries as mercy of Lord. So when we see misery not as misery, but as mercy of the Lord, our vision changes. That is mercy of the Lord. And what we think is actually we should have got more misery. Actually, our karma according to our karma, we'll have got more misery. But because Krishna is there, he's minimizing the lowest. And therefore, he is very happy and he tolerates everything. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of happiness. He realizes that this is due to only Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. So again, if he is happy uh, and the things are working properly, he gives credit to the Lord. Why he gives credit to the Lord? Because actually, if we see now in this world, Lord is doing everything. Lord is providing us water, air, electricity, or sun, whatever eat, like everything is provided by water. The Lord. Even if we see further now, in chapter further, it will say that even the fire of digestion is coming from Lord. So everything what we eat is digested by the Lord. And whatever facilities are given, all the natural resources are given by the Lord. Like this building, if we want to make, we need cement, we need the brick merge and all. So it is all given by Lord. So therefore, if we see, because everything is given by Lord, so if some credit comes, then we pass on the credit to the Lord that we are actually unworthy of such happiness. And it is because of Lord's grace that we are in such a comfortable condition. And further, so I will see just one or two verses from Bhagavatam. So to understand this principle better, so let us see uh, this Canto 1. So this is a very good purport to uh, my one. So let us see. So this is a there is a Kali Yuga in the dress of a Shudra. So he's actually in the dress of a king, but his activities like of the Shudra. So he's beating the bull and the cow. So bull has lost his three legs and is crying, and cow is also crying bitterly. And that time Parishit Maharaj comes and he sees that the person in the dress of a king is beating the bull. And then he asks the bull, and who has done this to you? He knows, Parishit Maharaj knows he has sinned, but he's asked that whether the person is beating because of mistake of the bull or he's beating because of his own problem. So then he's asked the question, and this time the bull replies to the king that actually we don't know what is the cause. So if we are there in his place now, we'll tell that, oh, he is the culprit because the culprit is in front of us. We have seen this and we will see that he is the culprit. But here the bull says that I don't know. Some say that destiny is the thing, or some say that we are the cause, some say that the person is the cause, but I don't know who is that. And that time, Raja Parishit answers this, uh, gives his last final verdict. So what does he say? Let us see. Dharmam bravishi dharmagya dharmoshi vrisharupadrik yada dharma krita sanam suchaksyapi dad bhavet. The king said, O you who are in the form of bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of religious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than a personality of religion. So Parishit Maharaj is saying that because you have given this answer, you are none other than the personality of religion. So you are dharma. So what is the uh, principle which is given here is that the destination intended for the perpetrator of religious acts. Suppose somebody is doing religious thing. So the destination for him is also the same who identifies that he is doing the wrong thing. Suppose somebody is saying that, oh, he's the person who is the problem maker, or he's the person who is responsible for my problems. Then he is also gets the same punishment which the person who does wrong gets it. So this is the principle. So a devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for the benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, it does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. So what does devotee conclude is, if something is happening with me, So it cannot happen, anything wrong cannot happen with me without the sanction of the Lord. And therefore, if something is happening with me, then it is with the sanction of the Lord. And therefore, he does not consider anybody directly responsible. They do not consider that he's responsible for this one. No, because Krishna is directing the things in devotee's life. So once a person becomes a devotee of Krishna, everything in his life is directed by Krishna. So both in cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is His grace. So if there is some benefit or there is loss, he doesn't tell that Lord, why didn't you give blame, or he doesn't blame the God for the loss and praise the God for the benefit. He doesn't do this. So in case of benefit, no one will deny that it's God sent. But in case of loss or reverses, one will become doubtful about whether the Lord could be so unkind to his devotees as to put him in great difficulty. So when there is good, we'll not say anything, we'll thank God. But if there is something wrong, then we will doubt, oh, how Krishna can be so unkind. Dear Lord, Jesus Christ was seemingly put in such great difficulty, but being crucified by the ignorance. But he was very never angry at the mischief mongers. This is the way of accepting a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner, like the mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Maharaj Parishik observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of religion himself. So, in other words, a devotee has no suffering at all because so called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali. Although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities, the extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. So, it's a very, very detailed purport and requires very, very deep understanding of Shastras to understand that nobody in this world is the cause of our trouble, but it is because of the will of the Lord that the such trouble is coming. And therefore, here if we see the cow and the bull are representing how the mature devotee thinks. So this is a very good purport to think upon 11722. So we may even discuss. And another one we'll just see Canto 10, chapter 14. These are the Brahmaji's prayers. So Brahmaji is offering prayers to Krishna, and this is one of the prayer he offers. So let us see this verse also. So these both verses I have taken for us to understand the verse number 56, which we are going in Bhagavad Gita. Tattenukampam susamikshmano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam ridvagvapurvir vididhan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhag. So, what happens if one tolerates the onslaught of happiness and distress coming in life and taking its God mercy? So, this is the answer for that. So, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past miseries and offering your respectful obeisances with his heart, words and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So this said that one who waits, so one is waiting for Krishna that one day he'll bestow his mercy. And while waiting, he's patiently suffering the reaction of his past miseries. So whatever problems, dishappiness, and whatever comes, he's just suffering. And at the same time, he's waiting for the Lord. He's suffering. At the same time, he's offering his obeisance with his heart, words, and body. So he's not thinking that why this misery has come, but he is thinking, oh, good, this misery has come to me. So now I'll be purified. And he's happy with the misery coming. And therefore, he's offering respect. At the same time, waiting for the Lord to offer his mercy and all the while patiently suffering the reactions. So it doesn't mean that he does not go through pain or there are no problems. There are, but he understands why the suffering or pain comes, and therefore he's peaceful. So he's suffering also, he's offering respect also, and at the same time, waiting for the Lord to bestow his mercies. So suffering, offering respect, and waiting for the Lord to bestow his mercy. So um, here, if we see the purport, uh, I think it's not a very big purport. We'll just see this purport. Srila Siddhar Swami explains in his commentary that just as legitimate son has to simply remain alive to gain an inheritance from his father, one who simply remains alive in Krishna conscious, following the regulative principle of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of the personality of God. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. So what we have to do is simply remain alive in Krishna consciousness. So it may be difficult sometimes, sometimes easy, or whatever it is, we should be remaining alive. That's all. So once the son remains alive, after that his father passes away or father goes, all his property is got by the son. So here also, if one remains simply alive, so here Krishna doesn't pass away, but when we pass on this body to next, we will automatically become Krishna conscious. So the word Susamikshamanu indicates that devotee unlessly awaits the mercy of the Supreme Lord, even while suffering the painful effects of his previous sinful activities. So one, he's waiting for the mercy of the Lord, and at the same time suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. So this pain which we get is not because Krishna wants to give us pain. This pain is because previously we have done so many sinful activities, and now Krishna is trying to clear all the account by giving us such suffering. So Lord Krishna explained in the Bhagavad Gita that devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reaction of his previous karma. However, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of the previous sinful entity, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. So there are two line of karma. So one is directly administered by the Maya Devi or the Bhattacharya, and one is administered by Krishna. So what happens is, according to the rule of the material world, if we do good, we get good results. If we do bad, we get bad results. So this is the law of karma. But what does Krishna's law says? Whatever karma is remaining in our account, because we have come to Krishna consciousness, to all our karma from this life, from the next future life which we are going to take, he will all total it. And whatever is necessary for us to become Krishna consciousness, he will give us that karma. And whatever is not necessary for us, which is not it, he will remove all this karma. So in this way, actually, if it is speaking that what pain we get is not karma, but it is Krishna's mercy, because all the karma is taken by Krishna, and whatever is given is only some remaining here and there, some things, so that the last vestige in our mind, because uh, the enjoying spirit is there, some things are still remaining in our mind. So we have given them externally, but internally we may be contemplating something, some objects or something. So Krishna mercifully wants us to remove that also, and therefore Krishna gives us such reaction or such karma. So it is like a child is being trained in some military or army in the presence of his father. So here, if we see, the father personally sees that his child is trained properly, so he may render good service. It is not like somebody who doesn't have a father or is anath, and therefore he's being beaten up by somebody or nothing like this. So here the father sees that, oh, he's been beaten enough now, so let us now take some rest. So gradually he makes his child stronger and stronger so that he may fight the ultimate battle. So like this, the Lord helps to remove the last vestige of enjoying spirit. Therefore, the person may go back to God. So the purpose of entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord, and therefore the particular punishment given for the sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produces the activity. So this world is not actually meant for enjoyment, but it is meant for rectification, so that we may go back to God. And here also Krishna gives us that reaction or something, so that our enjoying tendency may be removed. And therefore, it is specifically designed for us. So we are very unique, and whatever things are happening with us, the punishment or the reward, whatever we get, is very unique. Krishna has designed that for us. So therefore, we should not trade our problems, our uh, whatever things we are suffering with others, because Krishna designed for us. And while designing, if we go through this, then we'll go back to God very fast. But if we think that, oh, I don't want this, these are bad, or this are, like we react to the things, then it will take more time, because then Krishna has to again change the plans, do so many things. So again, we will come on time, because Krishna's purpose is very clear. He wants us back to God. So, further, although a devotee has surrendered to the Lord's devotion service, until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of the world. So, devotee has surrendered, but there may be some few thoughts, some feelings here and there pending, and Krishna wants to remove that also. So, this unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for introducing his devotee to completely let go of material world and return home back to God. So, whatever happiness we suffer, it is not actually karma, but Lord's mercy, so that we may go out of the material world to spiritual world. A sincere devotee unlessly desires to go back to God's Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respect and obeisances to Lord, which is heart, body, and words. So these three things, Prabhupada is saying, the heart, words, and body. Because sometimes what happens is, we may be suffering and we may offer respect, but in our heart, sometimes some thoughts remain, or sometimes our heart is clean, but the body doesn't act properly. So with three things, heart, word, and body, everything, we should offer respect. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship, a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes a legitimate or son of God, as indicated here by the word Daya Bhag. Just as one cannot approach the sun without being fire, one cannot approach the supreme pure Lord Krishna without undergoing rigid purification process, uh, which may appear like suffering, but which is in fact a curative treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. So whatever suffering we are going through, actually is God has done with this with us, so that we may become pure and go back to God. And therefore it is called as a curative treatment administered by the personal hand. So this is a difference between a devotee and non-devotee. So for non-devotee, the Mahadevi acts, but here for a devotee, Krishna is himself coming and giving us punishment. And the reason for giving us punishment is so that we may rectify and go back to God. And therefore, it is considered as mercy and not any problem or something. So I hope this things has been cleared and understood very well. That how does a devotee react to problems and difficulties? Like it is said that one is not disturbed in amidst of different miseries or elated in various happiness. So, and further, yeah, similarly, his happy gives credit to the Lord. He realizes that it is due to the only the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. So, whenever there comes that there is some service of the Lord, so he is very active, he is very daring. So, for himself, he may not do many things, but for Krishna, he will do whatever is required. So he is not influenced that I'm attached to these things or not, or if I'm detached. No, he will do what is needed. So attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. So attachment means we want things for our gratification, we like some things, and detachment means we don't like such things or it is not useful, so we detach from it. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is dedicated to the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. This is very wonderful lines. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. That means whatever activity he is doing, maybe preaching, maybe taking charge of the guest, or any service, maybe agriculture or anything. So whether he's successful or not successful, he's not bothered. What he's bothered is whether I am pleasing Krishna or not. So if one is pleasing Krishna and is always pleasing determination, is always successful. So like we see Vasudevji, the father of Vasudeva is Vasudevji. So he is known as Shaurya. He is known as the person who is having valor. So if we see the history of Vasudevji, he has not fought many battles or he has not won so many things. So when Kamsa wanted to kill Devki, so that time Vasudev didn't fight with Kamsa and won, but still he is called as Shaurya. Why? Because he acted for the pleasure of Krishna. He acted for the pleasure of Krishna, and therefore, if we see, he has not won many battles, but he has pleased Krishna to the fullest, and therefore, even he promised to Kamsa that I will give all the sons. And when Krishna was born, he didn't give Krishna to Kamsa, but he took Krishna to Gokul. Somebody said, "Oh, he always keeps his promise. How did he break the promise?" So doesn't that Vasudevji did not follow the dharma that he has become now, he has lied to Kamsa, he will give all the sons. So no, dharma to sakshat bhagavad paritam. So if Krishna says something that don't give me to the Kamsa but take me to the Gokul, that itself is dharma. So whatever Krishna says is dharma, others are adharma. So if Vasudevji did not follow Krishna and did not take Krishna to Gokul, that was adharma, and not that he not giving to Kamsa. So in this way, whatever is there, he's attached to Krishna only. So he doesn't think about ordinary dharma or adharma. He thinks the supreme dharma or adharma. That is whether he is working according to the dictations, according to the directions of Krishna or not. And that is the supreme dharma for which a devotee works. And therefore, Vasudevji is not to be blamed that for not fulfilling his promise of giving Krishna to Kamsa, but taking Krishna to Gokul. And in this way, this is a very nice verse and purport to meditate and to work upon our life if you want to become Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead very fast. So, verse number 57, let us see. So, this is further that one may not be attached or detached to the happiness or success. But sometimes what happens is we may sometimes glorify or sometimes we even envy some things. So this also has not to be done. So after the activity is being done, so we may not have anything left in our heart also. So let's see this verse, how it speaks. Yat sarvatra anabhisneha tat tat prapya subha shubham na vinindanti na dvesti tasya pragna pratisthita. Yeah, one who sarvatra everywhere anabhisneha without affection that that prapya achieving shubha good ashubham evil na never abhinindanti praises na never dveshti envies tasya his prajna perfect knowledge pratisthita fixed. Translation. In the material world one is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it or nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So, one may not be externally show that I am affected by happiness or distress, but also one should not praise something or despise something that, oh, this is good or this is bad. Nothing like this. So he is perfectly fixed in knowledge. Purport: there is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. So there is always something which goes on material world. Something is good, something bad. So one who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good or evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. So one should be not be affected if one is to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil because this world is full of duality. So in this material world, there is always be something what we like and something what we don't like. There is something good, something evil. There will never a time when everything is good. So we should not expect such an utopian idea in this world that everything will be good one day. No, it will never happen. Never happen. But what we can do or what we can see is that we are not affected by such happiness or evil. And we are simply concerned with Krishna. Whatever Krishna does, whatever Krishna likes, and whatever is good for Krishna and good for our bhakti, so that we follow. So whatever is good for our Krishna consciousness, that we do. So we are simply concerned with Krishna, who is absolute, good, absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in perfect national position, called technically samadhi. So this is where one achieves samadhi, that is always conscious of Krishna. What does Krishna like? What does he doesn't like? How can I please Krishna today? How can I please Krishna in this moment? And this is where one thinks that what should I offer to Krishna bhoga today? So he thinks that what is made in Barsana today, what is made in Nandagaon today, let me offer that bhoga. So in this way, continuously one is thinking about Krishna and the ways and means that one may be able to please Krishna, and therefore is not affected by this material world. And whatever situation happens, he neither prays as neither he's just an observer. He sees that my body is going through some problem or my God is something, but I am spirit soul, and we know we have seen and so many verses about the soul, how it is not been cut, it cannot be destroyed or anything. So he's on the soul platform. So let's see the verse number 58. So this verse number 58 is Sita Pragya, sitting. So Kim Asita, we are saying that how does he sit? So how does sit mean? Late line doesn't mean how does it sit. How does he sit means how does he control his senses when there are sense objects? So see, generally we can sit very nicely, but as soon as suppose I like gulab jamun, and when gulab jamun comes in front of me, how does I act? Do I pounce upon the gulab jamun, or I can sit comfortably taking what am I doing right now and wait for some time till the right time comes for eating? So how does it work? So the answer to these questions are given this in verse number 58 and 59, and further verses also. Yeah. So verse number 58. Yada samharte chayam kurma anga niva sarvasha indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratisthita. Yada, when samharte winds up, cha also, ayam he, kurma tortoise, angani limbs, iva like, sarvasha altogether, indriyani senses, indriya arthebhya from the sense objects, tasya his prajna consciousness, pratishtha fix. Translation. When one is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as a tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So, to withdraw senses from sense objects is not so easy, and therefore, Sthitadur Muni is able to do this. An example given of is of tortoise. So we know tortoise, whenever there is some danger, something, what does he do is he takes his limbs inside his shell, and he's in the shell to protect himself. So like this, a person in Krishna consciousness is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport. The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. So his plan is that suppose somebody is planning that I will complete my quota of spiritual practice and then only I'll take some prasad or something. And some prasad comes that time. So how does he able to control his senses? This is what is told. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by dictation of the senses. So most people in this world are servants of the senses. So if you see all the advertisements in this world, it's all drink this, eat this, see this, smell this. So why there are so many advertisements? Because they know that the senses of the people are uncontrolled, and therefore people will enjoy this, and this is the way how people take benefit of this and sell so many of the products which are not needed for us in the long run. That is the answer to the question of how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. So this is how the senses want to act. First is very loosely. Therefore, it doesn't have any guide. Whatever see whatever we see, whatever we hear, affects our consciousness. Whatever is smell, eat, and everything, it affects our consciousness. It affects the way of living, and it affects the future path of our life. But when one is loose, one will eat whatever is there, one will see whatever is there. In long run, what happens is garbage in, garbage out. So whatever I take in, if it's not good, then it will be problem. And therefore, we should not take loosely. And that also without restriction means that we should have restrict our senses. That you can see this only, you can hear this only, you can eat this only. That is seeing only Krishna or different avatars. Uh, and eating only Krishna Prasad. Like this, there should be some restriction on the senses. Otherwise, they are very strong and it cannot be controlled. The yogi or devotee must be very strong to control the serpent like a snake charmer. So we need to be internally very strong, and such strength comes by when we read the shastras like what we are doing now, Bhagavad Gita, and also so all the strength comes from these books. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do's and some of them are don'ts. So we know that the sentences are to be followed. So unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. So one cannot be fixed in Krishna consciousness if one does not follow these do's and don'ts of this. So do's are the nine processes of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu and all. And don'ts are the regulatory principles, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication or no gambling. So like these are no do's and don'ts in general. And afterwards, when progressing bhakti, there are some other do's and no don'ts. So this is as per his level of Krishna consciousness which he grows. The best example set herein is a tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. So the senses should not come with the contact with sense objects. So that is our test. If senses come with the contact with sense objects, then we will definitely fall for it. And therefore, here the example is not tortoise who can withdraw. So we should withdraw our senses from sense objects. So suppose we like something to eat, so we should not see there. We should not go to smell that thing or eat. Let me check how it is. If we just go and try to check it, then we'll be caught by it. There is no point that will be saving ourselves. No way. Similarly, the senses of Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjuna is being taught here to use his senses of the service of the Lord instead of his for his own satisfaction. So here Arjuna is being told that please use the senses for the service of the Lord. So keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise, which keeps the senses within. So whenever there are other sense objects, so the senses are withdrawn. And as soon as the service of Krishna comes, the senses are being active again. So here, the example of tortoise is one who keeps the senses within when not needed, and only when it is needed, it brings out. So very good and wonderful purport and very good instruction for us as sadhakas if we want to move forward in the spiritual life. Then verse number 59. Vishaya vinivartante niharasya dehinam rasavarjam raso api yasya param drishva nivartate niharasya. So niharasya dehinam. So by negative restrictions of the body. So thing is we can temporarily control the senses with some rules and regulations. But if you want to control the senses permanently, then it can happen only if we have param dishra nivata, that is, we have higher taste. So let us give some example. Suppose a child is there and there is mobile in his hand, and we know that the mobile actually is very harmful. See, one is mobile is harmful because the child will get attracted to the mobile and it will just the time for mobile screen increases and he'll become very restless and all. But major problem with the mobile is its radiation. So even if the mobile is in the hand of the child and he may not do anything, there's lot of radiation coming which will harm his health. So if we want to take the mobile away from him, what we need to do is give some object gives a higher taste to the child, maybe some doll or something. So if we take the mobile directly, the child will cry that why you're taking the mobile from me, and he will do chaos and all. But if we give some toy or something which has some good value for the child, then the child will easily give up the mobile. So like this, for us also, we may not be able to restrain our senses. We may think that I will not eat gulab jamun from tomorrow, or I will not do this or that. But it will not work till the time we have some higher taste or higher things in our life. If there is something higher, then we can leave the lower things. Like this, here also, Krishna is advising us that first is it should be like tortoise who withdraws his limbs, but at the same time, one should try to develop some higher taste and thereby reaching the senses. So let us see the synonyms translation purport of this verse. Synonyms: Vishaya, objects for sense enjoyment. Vinivartante are practiced to be refrained from. Niha harasya, by the negative restrictions. Dehina, for the embodied. Rasavajam, giving up the taste. Rasa, sense of enjoyment. Api, although there is. Asya, his. Param, far superior things. Deshwa, by experiencing. Nivartate, he sees from. Translation: The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense enjoyment remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing the higher taste is fixed in Krishna consciousness. So we saw that we may restrict our sense enjoyment, that sense should not come in contact of the senses. So sense objects should not come in senses. Is easy to say, but the taste remain. Suppose we eat a gulab jamun. So one is one is we taste the gulab jamun, but second is the impression remains. So next time when we see gulab jamun, automatically your hand will go to eat the gulab jamun because the previous taste is there. And the previous taste is, oh, this gulab jamun is very nice. You should eat right now. And then we again eat. So this way a cycle becomes. So we know there are so many drug addicts in the law. We have seen so many the chain smokers on. So sometimes they know it's bad and one should not smoke. But what happens is they are addicted to smoking because the taste, the vasana inside the mind is remaining, and one is not able to overcome that. And therefore, here Krishna says that the taste for sensuality will remain, even if one seizes that tomorrow I will not see a movie, but the previous impression of the seeing a movie will remain. And for that, what we need is we have Krishna conscious drama. So every year, our devotees play different dramas, and they also make some short movies or something for devotees to see, so that they can use these dramas and can experience the higher taste also. So we should try to develop this higher taste. Otherwise, it is not easy to restrain the senses for a long time. So it's like a snake which is poisonous snake. Though the snake charmer or the person who is hunting for the snake, he will take care that the snake is not uh, being put loose. So snake is snake. Even if it's caught, it is still poison. So if there is some lethargy or there is some mismanagement in this taking the snake from one place to another, then the snake will get a chance and it will bite us and will be killed. So like this, the sense objects, if there is some chance for it to take its turn, then it will take a toll on us and it will be very difficult for us to then again bring back the senses to Krishna. So should develop a higher taste for this. So purport: unless one is transcendent situated, it is not possible to cease from the sense of sense enjoyment. So till the time one is fully developed his Krishna consciousness, is bhakti, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. I think it is impossible. We will seek sense enjoyment from here or somewhere. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain type of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restriction nor nor loses his taste for eatables. So, there's some patient who goes to a doctor and doctor says that you have follow the pathya or something, the rules and regulation to eat and not eat. So patient doesn't like it, and One is he doesn't like the rules and regulations. Second is he doesn't lose the taste for the eatables also. So as soon as he sees that thing, then he'll be attracted to it. And second is does not like the decision, so he will not even like to follow also fully. So very difficult. And I have personally experienced this so many times that it's not so easy to follow the patya. And one has to have so much self-restraint and control if one wants to follow the patya regularly. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, and dhyana. Exercise recommended for less intelligent persons who have no knowledge, better knowledge. So there's different stages of Ashtanga Yoga in which there are different postures, different niyamas, in which the senses are being tried to be controlled. But one who has tasted the beauty of Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has taste for the dead material things. So if there is nothing, some has less intelligence, less intelligence means doesn't have no knowledge of bhakti, then one may try all these other things. But if one has the knowledge of bhakti, then what happens is one gets the taste of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and therefore his taste for other things is vanished. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophyte in the spiritual uh, advancement of life, but such restrictions are not only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for the pale things. So when one is fully in Krishna consciousness, one reaches stage of at least nishtha, ruchi bhav, then what happens is all his previous states of different things loses, and there is no looking back. He will continuously chant the Mahamantra. He will continuously take Krishna Prasadam and everything. So one has to reach this stage sooner or later. Otherwise, it is not so easy to go back to God. So further, Krishna says that actually it is very rare, very, very rare. To control senses is not so easy. So this Sita Pragya is very, very rare person. So let's see verse number 60. यतोऽपि हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चित इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रशभं मनः. Yet, while endeavoring, he certainly, api, in spite of Kaunteya or son of Kunti, Purushasya of a man, Vipaschita, full of discriminating knowledge, Indriyani, the senses, Pramatini, irritating, Harati, throw, Prasabam, by force, Mana, the mind. Translation: the senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So, man who has knowledge, who has discrimination, who is intelligent, so such man also is not able to control them because the senses are very, very strong, very, very strong. And they are so strong, it's not so easy. And therefore, uh, we should strive for it and develop higher taste also. Purport: there are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses. But in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to our agitated mind. So many people in the past, so many people in the present are trying to control the mind, senses, and they're trying very hard. But even the greatest of them means one who is very learned, because in every uh, process there may be somebody who is kanishta, somebody madhyam, or somebody is uttam. So kanishta means who has just started the starter level, and madhyam is somebody who is in madhyam level, who knows the practices, he has practiced for 15, 20 years, and somebody on uttam level who has practiced for 40, 50 years, who is very advanced, who knows the things very well, who knows the philosophy, who has practiced it. So even the greatest of them, greatest means the one who is in uttama level, so one who has spent so many years, 40, 50 years, and who knows the philosophy very well, and who can practice, who has demonstrated it. Even that also sometimes fail victim to material sense enjoyment. So that person can also fall because of sense enjoyment. So such is the sense enjoyment which is very difficult to control. So even Vishwamitra, even a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment. Although the yogi was endeavoring for self-control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. So we know Vishwamitra was trying very hard, and for so many years, I think thousand years, he did very austere practices. And just then he was misled by Menka. So whenever somebody does some severe tapasya, Indraji is very disturbed, and therefore he sent some apsara. So Menka was sent to stop the tapasya for Vishwamitra. And unfortunately, Vishwamitra fell for her, and he left his practices for some time, or the practices got disrupted for some time. So it's very difficult. And of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. So in the history of the world, if you see any religion or anything, there are so many cases. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna consciousness. So if you want to control the mind senses, we need to become fully Krishna, not just starting Krishna consciousness, but become fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Then this thing will happen. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot see such material engagement. A practical example is given by Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint devotee who says, so Yamunacharya is a devotee of Krishna and a great saint. So he has given this following verse. Yadavadhi mama cheta Krishna padar vinde nava nava rasathamani udayatan rantum ayasit tadavadhi batanari sangame smarayamane bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishchivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the Lord, in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. Whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So here, Yamunacharya is a great saint saying that because he's been engaged in the service of Krishna, and he's also experiencing and enjoying union humors. So whenever he thinks of sex life, so your sex life is given because it is the highest place in the material world. And it is only when I sex life with women. So if some woman is reading, he can think about a man. So in Shastras, generally, an example of women are given like this, that one is attached by the woman and something like. So it is equally applicable to men also. But because Shastra written by a man, so it is like this. So if a woman reads this, she should think or hear that it's like a opposite gender. That's all. There's nothing like distinction or something. So one should think in that spirit that it's like opposite gender, and therefore it is written that when he thinks, his face turns from it and he spit at the thought. So the thought will come till the end of life. So one may be advanced, whatever it is, but the thought will come till the end of life. So the sadhaka, what he has is, he may not contemplate on thought. He may spit at the thought like this. What he does, the Yamunacharya does is here, I spit at the thought. So he removes the thought from his brain and mind and everything. So this can be done by a sadhaka because the thought will come. There is no point of telling that the thought will also not come. The thought will come. But a sadhaka, a new person will act on the thought, whereas an advanced person will not act on the thought. There is a difference between a sadhaka and an advanced person. So the same thought may come to a sadhaka and he may uh, go and do some wrong things sometimes. But if one is advanced, then he may just speak that, oh, such thought has come, and he may repent for it and do and increase his sadhana more. Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man has satisfied hunger by sufficient quantity of nutritious vegetables. Maharaj Ambrisha also conquered a great yogi, Durvasa Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. So, Krishna consciousness is such a transcendent nice thing that if we are engaged in that, then automatically all our sense enjoyment will become not be useful. and it is like a hungry man. So if somebody is hungry and he has eaten sufficient food, then he'll not again look for food or anything. So we need to be satisfied because person we are Sachidanand. We want knowledge, we want to be ever blissful and happy. And if Krishna consciousness cannot give us bliss, then we look bliss outside. So actually, Krishna consciousness is the only one thing which can give us sufficient bliss and energy. But because we are not able to connect with it, we are sometimes experiencing distress. And therefore, we should gradually develop Krishna consciousness so that the material hankerings may go. So, verse number 61. So, again, uh, sense control is only by devotion to Krishna, and this is what is said in this verse. And such person is of steady intelligence. And further verses 62 and 63 will say about how a man who is not steady will fall down. So let's see now verse number 61. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्पर वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तानि those senses sarvani all samyamya keeping under control yukta engaged asita should be situated madpara in relation with me vashe in full subjugation he certainly yasya one whose indriyani senses tasya his prajna consciousness patisthita fixed. Translation: one who restrains his senses keeping them under full control and fixes consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. So first is going to restrain the senses, keep under control, and then use it for Krishna, and then fix the consciousness also in Krishna. So that is man of steady intelligence. Purport: that the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness, clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. So if we are not devotees of Krishna or any other incarnation of Krishna, like Narsimha Bhagwan or Vishnu or anybody, then it is not possible for us to become Krishna conscious. Not possible. And it is, sorry, not possible to control the senses. It's impossible to control the senses. And we have seen this and understood also that it's not easy to control senses. And therefore, we need to use the senses in service of Krishna. So the greats, as cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Ambrish Maharaj, and Durvasa Muni honestly became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. So the story is in Bhagavatam 9th canto. It comes that once Ambrish Maharaj did his upvas of Ekadashi and Dwadashi for years, and then what happened is at the time when he was fasting breaking the fast, Durvasa Muni came, and Durvasa Muni was being honored by Ambrish Maharaj and told that you come and take prasad with us. So Durvasa Muni went for his duties and went to the river and took more time than needed. And that time the fast breaking time was soon passing away. And therefore, what Ambrish Maharaj did is in consultation with the ministers, he drank some water so that his fast, which he had done for years, may not go waste. At the same time, he did not eat because he wanted to even please Durvasa Muni. But when Durvasa Muni came back, he saw with his eyes, because he was Trikaldarshi, he could see. He saw that Amrish Maharaj had drank some water without his permission, and therefore he unnecessarily Durvasa Muni became angry on Amrish Maharaj just because Amrish Maharaj had drank some water. And here, because he became proud, so if we see, Durvasa Muni was a saint and he had so many disciples, but Amrish Maharaj was a king. But still, because Amrish Maharaj was a devotee, when Durvasa Muni became angry and he removed one bunch of hair from his head and threw on the ground, a Rakshas came. But Amrish Maharaj was undisturbed. He did not do anything. He was just folding his hand and was just depend on the Lord because he was devotee of Krishna. So his senses were so controlled that he was not fearful or had no grudges or anything. And therefore, Krishna was very merciful to Amrish Maharaj. So he sent his Sudarshan Chakra. That Sudarshan Chakra killed the demon, and then the Sudarshan Chakra chased Durvasa Muni. And here Durvasa Muni was very powerful, but still he ran away. He started running to different planets and everything just to save his life. So such a contrast has been shown that when the demon was then Durvasa Muni attacked Amrish Maharaj just did nothing. He was just standing there. But when the Sudarshan Chakra went after Durvasa Muni started running and went to different planets to save his life. So it has been shown that how a devotee is steady, Siddha Pragya, whereas one who is not a devotee of Krishna can become angry out of pride, and therefore there are some problems which are created. And after a period of 1 year, when Durvasa Muni came back, Amrish was still standing there waiting for Durvasa Muni, and Amrish Maharaj then prayed to Sudarshan Chakra to go and spare the life of Durvasa Muni. And the way he acted was very phenomenal. So Amrish Maharaj is giving us an example of how the senses should be engaged in Krishna's service, and also how a devotee behaves. On the other hand, the king, also not powerful yogi as a sage, but a devotee of Lord, silently tolerated all the sage injustices and therefore emerged victorious. The king was able to control senses because of his following qualifications that mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So what was the king did daily is mentioned here. Savai mana Krishna padar vindayor vacham sivai kunta gunanuvarnane karav hare mandina marjanadishu shutim chakara achyute satkathodaya मुकुंदलिंगाय लये दर्शने दिशु तद्भृत्य गात्र स्पर्शे अंग संगमम गृहाम गृहणाम च तत्पाद सरोज सौरभे श्रीमत्तुलसया रसनम तद अर्पिते पादौ हरे ऋषि क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे शिरो ऋषिकेश पादान पादाभिवन्दने कामं च दास्य न तु काम कामया यथो उत्तम श्लोक जनाशया रति. So Savai Mana Krishna Padaryan. So where should the mind be fixed? On the lotus feet of Krishna. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanvanda. Vachamsi the words. What are the words to be used? Words are used to describe the abode of Lord. Karo Harer Mandira Majadisho. So hands. Hands, how should be used? To clean the temple of the Lord. फिर श्रुति to hear, chukar achyuta sat katha. How what should we hear? Hear the passion of the Lord. So this way, our hands, our mind, our words, and our ears should be used. Then further, mukunda lingale darshanadishu. So what should our see? So we should see the form of the Lord. So this is how we should. Tad bhritya gatra sparshe anga sangam. So how the sense of touch should be used? So touching the body of the devotee. So if Mata is there, Mata, you can touch the body of Mataji, and Prabhuji is Prabhuji's body. So maybe massaging, maybe doing whatever services to be need, that can be done. Grahanam cha tat pada saroje. So grahanam means to smell. So what should one smell? The flowers which are offered to the Lord. So one can smell that flowers. And to taste, so one should taste in the tulsi leaves offered to Lord. So Srimad Tulsiya Rasnam Atadarpite. So what tulsi we offer to Lord, one should take that tulsi to taste. And then Pado Hare Rishetre Padanam Sarpan. So how should legs be used? So in doing different pilgrimage to holy places. So how this legs should be used. Shiro Ishikeshe Pada Bivandane. How should head be used? To offer obeisance to Lord and his devotees. So this way used. And Kamancha Dasya Natu Kama Kamaya. So how should our desires be used? So our desires should be used in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So whatever we have desires, we should be doubted in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And Yato Uttama Shloke Janasya. So in this way, one become fit to become a devotee of Krishna. So this is the way how Amrish Maharaj acted, and this is the way how every devotee should act. The word Matpara is more significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Amrish Maharaj. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and Acharya in the line of Matpara, remarks Mad Bhaktim Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatma Drishti Sulabheti Bhava. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotion service to Krishna. Also, the example of the fire is sometimes given as a blazing fire burns everything as within a room. Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on the Vishnu and not mention the word. The so-called yogis who meditate on the something other than the Vishnu form is simply waste their time in a vain search after some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to personality God. That is the aim of real yoga. So your example is given as a blazing fire burns everything in the room. So if there is fire in the room, yesterday one devotee was telling that they lit some agarbatti for mosquitoes, and because of something which they oversee, the whole room got burned. So the fire burns up everything except for the photo of Krishna and some things. Otherwise, everything was burned, and it was a big loss for the family. So if we see that this fire burns up everything, so if Vishnu is sitting on our heart, then all the impurities burnt and everything we can become a pure devotee, and this is the goal of our life. So which we should do. So further verses from 62 onwards we'll do next time. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So